Hi there. Um, so I had a little bit of a rough evening, so I'm going to just talk to you guys. Hi. Um, the subscribers hellos that I've been doing have not been in any particular order. Well, they've been in the order that YouTube showed them to me on my subscriber thing. So don't feel like I'm picking favorites or anything, because I would never do that. I wanted to tell you guys a story, not a story, but it's a story. Anyway, I wanted to tell you guys something that happened this morning. So, you remember I talked about. Sorry, I just ate some chips. Check this out. Again, white tea, green apple. Snapple. Anyway, so remember last week I talked to you guys about taxes and going to the trying to get my car tags or license plates depending on where you're from, and having all the trouble with them. Well, this morning I decided that since I could, I figured I'd get up early and go ahead and take care of it just to get it done, because we don't want any more tickets. Plus we weren't driving my car, and Darren's van doesn't have air conditioning and it's getting hot and blah blah, so anyway, so I wanted to take care of it. So I paid my taxes, my personal property taxes, last week online, and there's a whole long story behind that. I'm not gonna go into it, but anyway, so did that and then took the the little receipt and everything to the assessor's office, the tax assessor's office, to get myself put on the books. And while I was there, she says that my car is listed as a 2006, and I said, well, no, it's a 2005. And she said, well, then the other county owes you money back because you probably overpaid on your taxes for them. Okay, so great. So anyway, so get everything finished up there. They put me on the books, and now we have to leave there and go to the place where you actually get the tags. So I assume it's the DMV or the whatever, but everything here is Mo Dot or Mo Door or whatever, or something with Mo in it. So we go to the mall, which is where this place is. And there's a little bit of a line. It wasn't too terribly bad. Excuse me. And wait in line, get up to the chick, and it's the same person that helped us when we registered Darren's van. So, I thought that was pretty cool because she kind of seemed happy to see us or something, which I'm sure she didn't remember us at all. But it's her, the way she presented herself, it seemed like she's like, hey, how you doing? Which is not necessarily an attitude that I expected, and not anything bad against, because I was government. Darren was government employee for a while. It's just her, the look on her face didn't scream friendliness. I don't care where she worked. Anyway, so so I get up there and I tell her about the 2006 2005 thing, and she basically says the same thing. Well, they owe you some money back probably. I said, all right, well, I'll check into it. I said, that's not going to keep me from getting my tags, is it? And she said, oh, no, no, we'll get you set up. So she pulls up the the computer screen or whatever, and she says, "Oh, is this a Pontiac?" And I said, "Well, no, I used to own a Pontiac Sunfire, but that's been years ago." And she's like, "Well, that's weird. It's showing a Pontiac." And I said, maybe it's in there from before or something. And anyway, she said, "Well, hang on a second." So she did something, and then she said, "Oh, I see it now." And then it listed my actual car. Um, so that was all good and fine and everything. So she tells me the total. The total's 57 something for the tags for 2 years. So so I said, okay, great. I wrote out the check, and my checks have. See if I can. I'm not even gonna try. See if I can show you this white piece of paper. Anyway, my checks have Chinese symbols, characters on there, and they have like the English translation. So they say things like happiness, tranquility, and other things. I can't remember exactly what. So the first check I wrote was tranquility on the no. The first check I wrote was on the happiness check. Well, I was writing it out, and she came over and she said, "Oh, we just ran out of March tags, because that's when my tags expired." She said, "So I'll bump you up." And I was like, "Oh, well, is that a good thing or a bad thing?" She said, "Oh, that's a good thing." She said, "That way you don't have to renew for, until June 2 years from now." And I said, "Oh, well, great." So, so she, um, she came back, and or she while she was there, she said, "Okay, the totals changed." She saw my check that I had written. She said, "The totals changed. It's 54.28 instead." And I said, "Okay, well, that's no problem." So I voided that check, and then the next check in line was a tranquility check. So I looked at Darren and um, I said, "Oh, well, she doesn't get the happiness one, but she gets tranquility instead." Wrote out the check, tore it out of the thing. She came back, gave me my tags. I hand her the check. We leave, or we go to leave, and we're almost out the door, and this guy comes running after us, and he's like, "Excuse me, excuse me." So we turn around, and he says, "Did you guys just leave the DMV and get your from getting your tags?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, the lady that helped you needs to talk to you." And I'm thinking, is she gonna take my tags away? What's going on? So we turn around and go back, and as we're walking back, she walks out, and she holds up my check, and it is blank. She said, you left a blank check." And I'm like, "What?" I mean, the thing was blank. It was like I never even touched it. And I looked at Darren and I said, "You saw me fill that out, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "You saw me too, right?" And she said, "Yeah." She said, "That's why I thought it was so weird." She said, "I ran it through and there wasn't anything on it." And I'm like, "What?" So, I mean, this whole time I'm totally freaked out. I mean, I am completely freaked out, and I still to this moment cannot figure out how I stood there, wrote a check, completely filled the thing out, handed it to her. I know it was on there. So I looked at the first check I wrote was number 1010. The second check was 1011, which is the one that she had in her hand, and then the next check in line was 1012. So it wasn't like there was some weird sequential thing, or like I pulled a check from a different spot in my checkbook or something. I mean, but it was blank. So then later on, if that's not weird enough, so later on, I talked to my mom to tell her the story to freak her out, because that's always fun freaking out your mom. But I tell her the story, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" So she says, "Did you see any indentation of where you wrote on the check the first time?" And I said, "No, there was. It was like I tore a blank check out of my checkbook." She said, "Well, what about the check under it? Could you see any indentation on that?" And I said, "Ooh, that's a good point." So I take out my checkbook. That next check's still there. I've failed to mention that I went ahead and used that tranquility check, but I put it on the counter and wrote the information in with a different pen, thinking maybe it was the pen somehow. I don't know. But anyway, so oh man, I'm almost out of time. So anyway, wrote the check with a new pen, gave it to her. Well, anyway, mom said that about the other check. So I took a pencil and I scratched. I kind of rubbed it on there, like like a rubbing or whatever, and the information was there. So you tell me. My only thought is that when she ran it through that machine to whatever, maybe somehow that got rid of the ink. I don't know. But if you guys have any suggestions as to what could have done that, I am all ears and eyes. So tell me what you think. I think that is the weirdest thing, and it's still freaking me out. I hope you guys have had a great day. Like I said, I had a pretty good day up until tonight, and I don't even want to talk about it. I'm not going to mention subscribers now because I'm out of time, but I will do so in my next video. And remember, I'm not picking favorites. I love you all. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Have a great night, and tomorrow, see you soon. Bye-bye then.